Okay, so the fourth season reboot and the first half of the fifth season of Arrested Development. It's been over a decade in the making, and this is what we got. I mean, I'm not really, I can't remember the old version of season 4, but it couldn't have been that different because it looked very similar. You know, the essential parts were there. I don't remember it being so much Ron Howard because it was supposed to be a story about the Bluths. But hey, it's the Ron Howard show. Yeah, let's bring the whole family in because hey, I gotta launder that money. I'm sure, going with the kind of jokes he was making, that he understands the humor of that. Okay, there's either a lot of really good bad editing or a lot of really bad production, because there are places where the voices don't match. I mean, you have a scene which is, you know, a length of time, multiple conversations and stuff like that generally, or it could be one immense monologue, but the point is, even if it was one immense monologue, and through the monologue the voice kept changing, it was like cutting to the sound that you were like 1 minute in a tin can and the next minute standing in the middle of a park. And if you have seen TV shows and movies, you understand that those sounds can be different. It's like the lighting can be different too, but we're not having lighting issues here. That's where they got the good part. The only problem really is the audio for me, and if it's intentional, then, you know, it's good. If it's not, it's bad. So that's up in the air. I can't really pass a judgment on that. The acting, well, this show, when it first came out 15 years ago, was inventive and fast-paced and cut, and the story was like 20 different stories happening simultaneously, and, you know, basically you end up with like 2 minutes of story time. Well, even when they're actually cover 3 years, and that, once again, the confusion on the timeline and things happening, because within these episodes over 5 years of time have elapsed, which is it's been about 5 years since they tried the first reboot with season 4. Been waiting for season 5 since 2013. So it's, I mean, it was bad enough back in the day trying to find the show when it was on, because they kept changing its nights. Either that or I really didn't know what day it was most of the time. Girlfriends, they can really mess with your mind. That's why I'm glad I'm having. Anyways, so it is enjoyable, but now that we have parts falling off, it's like carrying a corpse around, and, you know, sort of like that Weekend at Bernie's thing, where, you know, except in this case he's decaying so much it's like a zombie at Bernie's. And, you know, it's like a foot falling off here and an arm falling off there, and that's, you know, I mean, if the zombie was the cast, because you're missing pieces of the cast, and it's getting harder to go forward without these critical storyline factors, that if they had actually accomplished doing this show 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and if they had just, you know, done the show and gotten it, you know, flowing, then we'd probably still have the cast, and they wouldn't have to keep rewriting everything. And, you know, you have this entire story over here, and all of a sudden you're trying to make the same show with the same actors, but the actors aren't there. Some of them are, some of them aren't, and it's just getting haphazard. So we have that. I really am curious as to how they're going to finish season 5, and if this rest, I guess, 9 episodes by the end of the year. If they're going to conclude the show, or if there's actually hope for a season 6. But at this point, I don't really want a 6th season unless they can actually hire someone like me to fix the show, because there's a lot of problems that need to be addressed. But it is funny, and it is fast-paced, but there's just some things, that need to be addressed.